We will discuss kickflips, but let's start with ollies. Okay, I want to cover some very, very important things when it comes to your ollie foot position. One of the most misunderstood things about ollies is that your foot position is the thing that determines the most. I don't think that's true. And look, it's really hard to make tutorials without focusing on foot position because there are some fundamental things that are very, very, very important with your foot position. But all of the importance comes down to balance on the skateboard. So yes, your foot position matters. If your toes are hanging off, you're gonna have a really tough time finding enough ground pressure to actually be able to jump in an effective way and bring the board up. But how wide or narrow your feet are is not the thing that gets the board in the air or not. So let me explain what I mean. As long as I have a good stable foot position, my feet can be wide, right? I can do an ollie from here, no problem. And that's a comfortable height. Rarely you really need to ollie higher than, say, 1.5 feet, or maybe over a board that's primo. Yeah, if you want to do a ledge and it's bigger, you might need a little bit more pop, but you can just jump a little bit higher. Your foot position isn't the thing that determines the ability to pop. It will affect your height at the top end though. If you want to push a massive ollie up into the air, 3 feet high, yeah, I'm gonna advise you to drop your front foot down because that makes it a little bit easier. The thing that your foot position will affect the most is your balance and what you can do with the board after it's in the air. I would actually recommend a wider foot position to start because this is a very stable position and it's really predictable. As your front foot gets lower, your position gets more unstable and the board becomes less predictable, but it gives you more maneuverability. So if you're trying to spin the board, maybe have your front foot a bit lower. That will give you the ability to let that nose rotate very easily off of the ground. But again, I don't want to say you have to put your front foot low to get the board to rotate. We're not really using our front foot to get it to rotate when it comes to shove-its and tray flips and these kind of things. So really that wide base, I think it's a little bit overtaught by everyone, myself included, that you want to get your front foot lower to do all these things. If you have the foundation to be able to pop, jump and hit the tail, you can ollie from pretty much the widest foot position possible. Okay, that is no problem. I also got some fresh shoes on today. I liked my New Balances so much yesterday, it pained me to ruin them. So I grabbed a box with a shoe that I have 2 pairs of these. So it hurts less to ruin them. I had egg time today already. Capone, that would be great if we had automatic bilingual subtitles on live streams, but that is asking for a lot. Oh man. I don't know what shoes these are. These are the Tom Knox 600s, gray. Gray on gray. What's up, Allie? Welcome. Do we have emotes live? No, we don't. You're tripping. We're working on them though. Black Knight, shotguns, welcome, welcome. Please do more pop shove-its and manuals. Okay, so I'm gonna try to be a lot more like letting you guys decide the content, because even though it's exhausting from my end, I think that's what gives you guys the best viewer experience. I still want to follow a little bit of a regimen, but I'm here to answer your questions. When we think about shove-its, our back foot is the thing that is going to determine most everything. And I want to test this out live with you guys. So, to get my legs warm, I'm going to do 2 ollies. I'm going to do 2 shove-its without hitting my tail. And then we're going to hit the tail just in a standard foot position. And in this period, I'm just observing what my feet are doing. I have the luxury of having so much experience on the skateboard that sometimes I don't know exactly what I'm doing. I notice my front foot drops low and turns for the shove it. But I'm not saying that's the best or only way. So we're gonna try that same thing, but I'm gonna keep my front foot higher. Generally, but this isn't true across the board, because I find the opposite with kickflips. With shove-its or spinning tricks or ollie tricks, having that front foot high will make the board follow you up in the air a little bit less, which is not a huge problem. It just gives you this really light, floaty feeling about a foot off the ground. So with my board coming up into the air less, it didn't feel as good, but I didn't expect that to happen, and it rolled over a little bit. So to stop the board from rolling, I'm just going to try to drop my back foot back onto the heel side. This is a position I've never tried to shove it in. Right? We're here to explore. It's an exploration to test foot positions to see what happens. So if I have my front foot high almost on these front bolts, and I put my back foot back in this heel side pocket, what do we think is going to happen? Rolled over, but I think I got excited. I think I tried too hard. See, if I put my back foot in the center, then it stays flat and it still spins. It's really not an issue. So I think the back foot with shove-its has a lot more to do with it than the front. But our feet are always working together. So if I have my back foot really aggressively on one side, that board is going to want to tip a certain direction. If that back foot is too far on the toe side, it's going to want to tip another direction. I say things like, it's going to wanna, or it feels like, or it has a tendency, because there's always a way to fight these tendencies based on the way that you pop. So my matchups might be different than yours. My basic shove has my front foot turned a little bit with my back foot on the toe side. But that's because of the way I pop shove-its. You might find it easier to have your feet more square and not worry about it, right? That might help you keep it flat. That might help you get it in the air. The thing that's important with skateboarding is having a goal in mind. I see this in actually a lot of different sports across the board. When you're working on technique, you forget your goal. And I'm a victim of this. Everyone is. You know, think about it like you're working on your jump shot. You're like, oh, I want to get my elbow underneath the ball. So you go up and all you're thinking about is your elbow. What are you shooting to? Then you miss and you're like, well, I don't know. Is it better? Is it worse? I just whiffed. But if you think about your goal first, let's say, okay, I want to spin my board up into my front foot. That's a great goal to have for your shove-its. Instead of thinking, oh, I just want to spin the board flat, it's like, okay, well, it spun flat, but you didn't land on it. Is that good or bad? So no matter what your foot position is, you should try to set up with the target in mind, with you trying to send your board up to your, for me, it's to my front foot. But I don't do front foot catches. I don't do 1 foot anything. I can't do it. Just plain and simple. I don't get it. My legs don't work like that. I don't like spreading out my back foot. I don't like it. So even though I'm shooting it up to my front foot, I'm hovering my back foot right at the bolts, and oftentimes I'll catch it with both feet. But my goal is very specifically to get the board to run up into that front foot. It is so hard to explain and skate at the same time. So I feel that board come around, and right when it gets to here, I feel that front foot on it, and then I'm like, okay, we're good. Then I put it down. So let's keep messing with the foot position. We're gonna have that front foot low now. So something that always surprises me that I need to pay better attention to is that your foot position and setup will affect your foot position on landing too. It's quote unquote proper to land with your back foot on the tail and your front foot below the bolts, if this is considered like a clean landing. I'd never liked that for me. I'm very much a nollie heel lander. I land everything in like a wide nollie heel flip. To me, if I have my back foot in this pocket and my front foot up on the side of the nose, I can land almost all my tricks from here. I can rotate backside out of it. Well, that's like the big thing. I can rotate backside out of it. So skating vert, you do everything to halfway, and then you can push on that front foot and roll in with the back, and it feels good. So all my tricks, I tend to jump a little bit towards the nose and land up here. But I can fix that involuntarily if I just set up a little bit more over the tail. Now I'm sitting back behind it through the landing. But the goal is the same. I'm still throwing up the board into the front foot, but I'm just sitting behind it. So foot position isn't always like, okay, how do we get the board to spin the fastest and go the highest? Foot position is something that is used to make adjustments beyond the skateboard. And that's a really important concept to understand. To do tricks, you have to land them. So, to land a trick, you have to roll away. So your foot position might affect your actual roll away more than it affects the way the board is behaving through takeoff. It's going to affect both, but I want you to understand that there's more to the equation than that. The audio's bad? Let's hear it. Let's hear it. I'm going to listen. Dang. Oh, that sounds terrible. That sounds absolutely terrible. There's someone mowing the lawn like 30 feet away from me. and it started right after I went live. So I'm just gonna move positions and see if that makes a difference. I'm sorry, that sucks. That really sucks. It's gonna be a lot quieter over here. Let's see. That's unfortunate. It's very hard to get this to get good setups, to be honest. Okay, if this didn't fix it, we're in trouble. Let's see. Good setup. Are we back? We're in trouble. Let's see. We're back. It's the guy mowing the lawn. That's what it was. There's a huge lawnmower right on the other side of the fence, but it wasn't that loud for me. You saved your ears. Good. Okay. Give me 30 seconds to get this set up in our new spot. Sorry about your ears. Sorry about your ears, guys. We're so back. We're so back. It's better. Sorry about your ears, guys. Yeah, okay. We're good. We're good. These mics are very, very, very sensitive. I almost landed primo and died. Hey, Emerindem, Dawson, what's good, man? Hey, Ellen. I think it was the lawnmower. Hey, Don, what's up? How's it going, man? Cool. All right, let's get right back to it. Let's talk about how foot position is really a matter of balance, just as much as it will affect your tricks. And to do this, we're not going to use a skateboard. I have my feet spread wide, and if I pick up one foot and I don't move, obviously, I'm gonna fall towards that foot, right? That's just picking it up. If I put my foot underneath my head, I can still not move, and now I'm balanced. Okay, foot position affects your balance more than anything else. If my back foot crosses my center line, and I'm out here, I am gonna fall backwards. If my front foot gets behind me, I am gonna fall forward. This is completely overlooked by almost all skaters because it feels like your balance is done by shifting your weight forward and backwards and leaning forward and backwards. Yeah, if I shift my weight back, sure, I'm over my back foot, but this isn't centered. This is weird. This is centered. This feels good. Okay? So when you're looking at setting up for tricks and you just bend your knees randomly and maybe you're loading your front foot a lot more than your back, then you're ending up in this position where now you got no weight on your back foot. And then you have to push into your back foot and that will lean you back through your pop. That's not good. So foot position is a matter of balance. This is why I think a wide foot position, this is why I think a lot of great skaters utilize the wide foot position. Keeps your weight centered between your feet. It's much easier to load both of your feet, because if you load your front foot more, you lose all the feeling in your back foot because your feet are so wide. It gives you really good feedback. If your feet are close together, it's actually harder to feel an evenly distributed weight placement. And this is because a small movement will have a big impact on which foot you're balancing over, right? If my feet are very close together, I can balance on my back foot, but I can also balance on my front. And it feels like I'm really not moving that much. So if I get all my weight on my front, it's gonna be harder to tell versus if my feet are wider. I can feel both of my feet planted into the ground. To do any trick, you have to use both of your feet. We discussed this in yesterday's live stream, and I think it's just such a great concept that we tend to use one foot too much, our front foot only too much through the tricks. Okay, so let me take some questions after that rant, and we'll get the next subject rolling. Sounds terrible. Let's make the audio's good. Ad blocker is good. It was an accident to have the ad rolls on YouTube. It's setting up the stream from home, and then I have to go to the skate park and press go live, and it's hard to keep everything in order. But if you're getting a bunch of ads on YouTube, you can come over to Twitch, drop a Prime sub for free if you have Amazon Prime, and get ad-free viewing experience very easily. There's also less viewers on Twitch, so chat is easier for me to keep up with. Preston asks if I knew that balance is in your ears. Yes and no. I know it in the sense that, like, I've heard that before. And I know you have, like, little hairs and liquid in your ears, and somehow that affects your balance, but I actually don't know anything about it beyond like just repeating the words that I've heard. The description should be different today. It should be addressing foot position myths. Ali, you are the best. Yep, please like the stream, share the stream, do all this. That's different than pressing the heart, I guess. I actually don't know much about YouTube streams, but we do it because we have 320,000 subs on YouTube. Okay, so I want to keep answering your guys' questions. I have a list of things that I also want to try out. But I want to stay focused on you guys. Yeah, on my YouTube description, it says, on my side, it says foot position myths, and I can't change it, unfortunately, on my phone. I need a computer. So that's unfortunate. Getting YouTube Premium and canceling Spotify. That is a decision. That's a decision, man. I actually don't use Spotify as much as I should. Partly because now my whole phone situation is all messed up, and I have too many phones, and one of them has Spotify, and I don't ever remember which one. Okay, Bingo. Great question. Great question. Let me see if I can have... I'm going to text Tyler and have him change the title. So how can I get my back foot to come up in the air with me? or sorry, my back trucks to come up in the air with me? That's a wonderful question. And we need to use both of our feet to do an ollie. This is a concept that I'm just exploring. I'm gonna be repeating that phrase over and over, partly because I just realized it in like a very intuitive sense. I always knew it, but it was never something that we really talked about. Partly because everyone was so bad with their front foot path that we had to address that first. The whole language around ollies, I think, was just improper and not very helpful. And everyone was so focused on just sliding their front foot that we had to really focus on the front foot to fix that, right? But now a lot of the followers of this channel know that you don't just drive your front foot forward through the nose. That is not really how ollies work. Your front foot is going to come up, arguably a little bit backwards, depending on what your goals are. My front foot tracks backwards a lot on the way up. That's partly because skating transitions, it has to track backwards a little bit more than skating flat ground. For the way that I skate. But to get the board to bounce, yeah, you can do that with a very front foot focused frame of mind. But to get the tail in the air, you have to get this board working with the right momentum so those back trucks fly up into the air when you move your front foot the right way. So it is really more like a dance, or it's more like a, what would it be? It's not like juggling a soccer ball. It is like a speed skater. You ever seen this exercise where you're jumping like this, right? You see it a lot in plyometrics. They're doing it like super far and like with a lot of power. But that takeoff for the ollie is a lot more like a speed skater than it is like high knees. And I don't really think that's ever been addressed before in the skateboard tutorial world. So when you want your back trucks in the air, it's helpful to push your back foot backwards a little bit. This is different. So we also need to touch on this, which is why I like lives, because I can rant. A speed skater will be a lot of forward momentum, but that's not necessarily what we want. I don't want to jump off the board forward, because that board's going to shoot backwards. So how do we nerf that a little bit and just shoot the board backwards a little bit, but not too much? So we can treat it like a speed skater, but we jump straight up. Boom. You can feel your foot slide as you leave the ground. I never know which side's the front and back on this board. So let's try that speed skater idea. We're pushing that back foot back and then it's coming up. Okay? The reason that we do this, what I believe is the reason, is that gets the nose moving this way. It gets the nose moving across your body. So when you hit it with your front foot, that tail is going to keep its energy and it's going to come up, right? Does that make sense? If I just hold the nose with this hand, that tail swings up. That is how the tail is swinging up in the ollie. It's not just going like this. It's not pushing the board out in front of you to lift the tail. It is swinging backwards, and then you're putting your front foot on the nose or on the bolts, doesn't really matter, and your tail flies up into the air. And this is obvious because if I don't stop the tail with my back foot, it just keeps going. It just keeps going up. This is not a problem that beginners have. This is not a problem that anyone has, actually. I've never seen that. But if you just do a regular ollie, throw that board backwards, catch the nose with your front foot, and then you never stop the tail with your back foot, that thing will just roll all the way over and keep going. Your front knee, that's a very good question. Well, let's look at how your front knee will affect where your foot is, right? So if my front knee comes straight up, I'm gonna have to roll my foot back a lot, right? So I'm gonna try that. I'm gonna try to put my knee out here. It works, but I end up very deep in the ollie. I felt my laces on the board, which is fine. I mean, that's not a huge problem. People like that. A lot of guys who are great at frontside are actually more on this side of the spectrum. Roll that front leg down, their knee comes out wide. They feel like their laces on the board. Some people's hips work like that, and I think that's wonderful. But I find it easier, instead of thinking about straight up or forward or backwards, I pick spots on my chest that I'm trying to bring my knee to. This helps me because I skate a lot of switch on transitions and going left and then going right and front side and back side, and it gets really confusing if I'm trying to bring my knee up, backwards, forwards. I can't remember that. But I know my body, no matter what angle I'm at or how fast I'm going, or if it's switch or if it's regular, that I can always just lift my knee towards my I can always lift my front knee towards my center line of my chest, or even like my leading pec, or if I'm really being aggressive, I can bring my knee up to my back shoulder, right? So I'm always thinking like 1, 2, 3. For backside and for kick flips, on vert, I tend to think about bringing my front knee up on this lead side, so either the center line or the lead pec, because I want to be able to use the nose immediately. When I'm going front side, I actually let that knee cross more so I can get this board up higher relative to my body, and then I find it easier to rotate front side. I've never been great at front side. This is a way for me to combat my lack of natural front side ability. heel flip frontside airs, kick flip lean 360. If I just bring this knee up across, that helps me get better connection with the nose, and I can use it a lot more. If I bring this knee straight up, I tend to start reaching that front leg around the corner frontside too early, and I lose the nose, and I end up getting out here, and I actually end up going to flat more. Haven't figured out exactly why, but I know it's true. If I lift it up to the inside, it helps me hug the wall. That description of what specifically causes the back truck to come up, something that I felt like was missing from your other ollie videos. Thank you for clearing that up. Mikester, it was missing. It's hard to address everything at once. And genuinely, I've just been trying to address the biggest problems that people are having, that the general people are having. It's hard to take feedback from 50,000 people and know what to do. And honestly, one thing I'm proud of is that our long-term viewers and subscribers have different problems to solve than they did when we first started making videos. So that tells me that our original videos solved the problem that we were trying to solve. Now, I think we're at a later stage in progress as a community, and we can focus on getting the back trucks in the air. I didn't know that was going to be a problem. There's multiple stages to an ollie. The first stage, the one that Skate IQ set out to solve, was getting the board to bounce. This is something that people were really struggling with. If you were looking 2 years ago when we started, the average problem... Hey, do you need me to move?
No, you're good.
The average problem was trapping the tail to the ground and then jumping off of the board and not having any ollie, like so. Right? We saw that a ton. And we also saw this a ton, where you weren't getting your tail to the ground and nothing was popping up into the air. Now we fixed that front foot path. We got this hippie jump ollie complex thing that's very popular. That board can bounce, but the tail isn't coming in the air. So now we're on like stage 3 or 4 of the ollies, and that new problem to solve. What's up, Roger? Positive vibes back at you to, is that, where is that? Is that Southwest Georgia? I'm kind of an idiot, so. Perfect, Redboard. That's exactly what I think you should be doing. Yeah, the only ollie video you'll ever need, part 4. Such a good title, though. Like, you can't even complain. It's such a good title, and it is getting people to do their first ollies. So I'm very happy with it, and I'm happy with the updated ones and all that. It's all about timing. Okay, I saw a very good question. I'm trying to look for it, but it looks like it's lost in the chat. So I'm going to take another question, a bit of a jump around from Michael Robertson. Do I change my foot position from kick flip to switch flip? I try not to, because logically, like, if it works goofy, it should work regular. But in practice, I do, because I'm not as strong. Well, I have some bad habits in my strong stance that work for me, whatever. And I'm relearning its switch. So I'm a lot more structured, I'm a lot more stable, and I'm a lot I'm not as hard on myself on my switch flips. If I do a switch flip and land on it, I'm like, that was a great kick flip. If I do a regular kick flip and land on it, odds are it was a 3-star kick flip and it wasn't very good, and I'm going to go try to change it. But the same kick flip switch, I'm happy with. So it's hard for me to really give a straight answer on this. I would say the things that I try to do, I'm actually better at switch because I can actually focus more on what's necessary. For my kick flips, I actually want to focus on foot position less, and I want to focus on using both of my feet more and getting strong pressure up against the nose to flip it. For regular, I want to overpower everything with my front foot, but if I focus on getting that board to move the direction I want and getting a good feel for the nose, kick flips seem to work pretty good. For switch, I can try the same things, but I'm in such a wider range of mistakes that I actually I can't reel it in as much as my regular. For instance, I don't know where my feet were on the last one because I'm talking, I'm thinking, I'm focusing on my back foot. I don't know where my front foot is for my switch flip unless I look at it. And then if I look at it, it's going to be harder to do it because I'm thinking and all this stuff. So my feel isn't really good enough to know. Where on my regular kickflip, I can remember where my feet were on a kickflip 3 days ago that felt really good. And I'll be like, okay, let's try to get nearer that position this time. For switch, all I know is it flipped or it didn't. And did I hit the tail on the ground? Like, my issues with switch are very beginner compared to the strong side. But I try to do similar things with both. Good morning. It's 10 p.m. here. It's funny, your name's Good Morning. Any tips to deal with or prevent hip pain from the ollie motion? I've been skating 3 years now, mainly once a week, and my hips started hurting recently. This is a big problem in the skateboard community. This is a big problem in my personal life as well. And to be honest, the only thing that has helped it is going to the gym. And I don't go to the gym enough. My advice to you, my only advice to you, is to get a very good personal trainer and go to the gym 3 times a week and do regular bodybuilding stuff to strengthen your glutes, hamstrings, quads, lower back, core, and just get your whole body strong. Your legs are heavy. It would make sense, like if we break down our body, I actually don't know the numbers here, but your torso is probably going to be the heaviest part of your body. That's probably like 30% of your body weight, 40%, I wouldn't be surprised. Your arms are not that much, probably 10% each. So then we got like 25% of our body weight in our legs. And you're trying to rip your legs up into the air with these tiny muscles that connect your torso to your leg. I don't actually know anything about anatomy, okay? That's what it feels like is happening. And that's why when I lift my knee super fast early in a session, I'll get the shooting pain down the inside of my hip, and it won't go away for the entire day, and I feel like my entire hip socket is loose. The only thing that helps that has just been doing squats and hamstring curls and getting stronger. And if I don't work out for a month or 2, it gets weaker, it starts to hurt again, and then my back starts to hurt, and then I'm out of service. Wallace with the gifted tier 1. Thank you, man. Appreciate it. Hey, Sirkin, I'm doing good. Good morning, man. Good afternoon, depending on where you are. The body is breaking itself down. We're all just stardust, man, trying to figure out which star we're dust from. My arches used to feel pain. My feet used to feel a lot of pain when I was younger. Partly because I think kids' shoes are low quality, and also because I was simply skating more. Now, I actually very rarely have foot pain. My toes will hurt when I'm skating vert because I'm slamming my toes into the ground for knee slides. Those will get very bruised and will feel just terrible. But overall, like actual foot pain, not so bad. Location check. I'm out here in beautiful Encinitas, California at Pood Skate Park at 12:45 on a Tuesday afternoon with 67-degree, partly cloudy weather with a light breeze off the ocean, and there's absolutely nobody at this skate park. There are 3 people at this massive skate park, and I'm very thankful. Moxon goes, dude, I'm from the Orion constellation. That's stupid. Joe Stardust, repeated explosive use of muscles, of cold, weak muscles, will lead to injury. Everyone should ideally be working out for health. I don't think this is a, what's it called? Why am I blanking on the word? Whatever. I've been reading more so I can use more words, but they're just not coming. Everyone should work out for health. I agree with that. If you're skating, you just need to realize how explosive and how strenuous it really is, especially in your adult life. When you're a kid, I think you can build the strength just by doing the activity. You can do that as well as an adult, but you'll have to deal with setbacks a little more often or just push through them. Generally, you can be more active and your body will keep up. Okay, it seems like you guys like just chatting. I like chatting. I like chatting too about gyms and diets and these things, but I'm gonna try to answer some skateboard questions. My ollie breakdown when I try harder. Should I just stick to the little ollie or get better? This is a phenomenal line of questioning. I think he's watching the live stream. There's a guy laughing and smiling on his phone behind me. This is a phenomenal question, Nikki. So, my ollies go crazy when I try to pop them too hard. Should I just keep them low? And I would say, before you jump higher, learn how to pick your board up faster. Okay? This is something, when I focus on it, I get a lot better. I can try an ollie, let's say this high, by focusing on jumping high. And the board will come up. That's fine. It takes a lot of effort, and I feel a lot of space between my board and my feet. So that is my version of my ollie going haywire when I try to jump too high. It's still within an acceptable range, and I still can make it. I've been doing ollies my whole life. I can pretty much jump as high as I want, and the board will be near enough my feet so I can roll away. But if I focus on jumping a little bit less and I bring that board up to the height that I want, it feels very strong and it feels very stable. So there's a range of heights that you can ollie within one height of a jump. Okay, I know that sentence barely made sense. Let's try it again. You can jump one single height and have 3 different ollie heights within that jump. So if I jump low, I can go there, I can bring it up a little bit higher, or I can bring it up super high. But I didn't feel like I was jumping that much. I just felt like I'm trying to snap the board in the air. So here's how I frame that. Once I can get the board up to maximum height with that jump, then I jump higher and the process restarts. Now that board will be sitting further away from me because I'm jumping super high and trying to pick it up. Now the board will be sitting lower, so I'm gonna have to repeat that and pick it up stronger and stronger and stronger. And this actually works for kickflips very well, where you don't have to jump super high, but you can focus on, oh, I'm gonna bring that board all the way up to me to do a kickflip. I think that's actually a poor tip for beginners, because a lot of you guys just won't have that control, and if you try to pick the board up too much, it ends up above your feet. I actually think for beginner kickflips, it's a good idea to try to keep the board low and for you to jump really high. I think that's better. But for your ollies, you can do the opposite. There's a lot of room to play with that. CY Josh. My feet are not used to balancing so much. And that's probably why they hurt. I think it's a message that was split between like 3, and I lost the other ones. Yes, your feet, your muscles in your feet and your ankles and all these things, they're just gonna be exhausted. I mean, you got 1 billion muscles in your feet, roughly 1 billion, and they're gonna get tired. Nobody uses their feet that much. Like, unless you grew up skating or playing soccer, football, then your feet are weak. You just got weak feet and ankles and arches and all those toe muscles and balancing on the balls of your feet and pushing and pulling and turning and stabilizing. Like, they're gonna get exhausted. I could do like 10 switch ollies in my back leg, my what usually is my front leg. That whole foot is like asleep from being so tired. My regular back foot, that just doesn't happen. I grew up doing this. It's built for it. It's very strong. Stardust, you're right, but I don't have a water bottle with me, so. Thanks for the biddies, Preston. Okay. How do you get your front foot on during a kickflip? This is a very common question, and we'll probably answer it once every live stream. Okay, there are the 2 issues with kickflips when your feet end up on the ground. The one where your front foot ends up on the ground, is something like that. That was a terrible example. It wasn't supposed to be that bad. It was supposed to be more like this. The other one is if your back foot ends up on the ground, right? Both have to do with the lack of jumping. Like, your front foot one can be solved like this. Try a no pop half flip. Don't hit the tail on the ground and flip the board, because that will stop you from throwing your front foot at the ground. Your feet are never moving at the ground. Ever. Ever. For anything. Ever. So if you're kicking your front foot down at the ground, it's just not the right direction. So you're always kicking out off of the board, wide, and off of the nose or the heel or the tail or the toe side. Like, they're just never moving towards the ground on your way up. I will not be live on Friday because I am moving. Okay, so yeah, your feet move towards the ground. There's two questions, the late flip and the double flip. There are two different ways to do a late flip. One would to, yes, kick your foot towards the ground. I've always had trouble with the late flip like that, and I never liked how it looked. The other way would be to do like a nollie front foot flip, where you get the nose really high, and then you do a normal kick flip off of it. So yeah, if you're good enough to ollie and float and then to tap the board to get it to do a late flip, and you have to move your foot a little bit towards the ground to do that, just fine with me. For a double flip, let's talk about how double flips work, and we'll use this as a segue. So yeah, you can kick through the board towards the ground to do a double flip, but the more you kick your foot towards the ground, the harder it's gonna be to get it back up. I would recommend that you try to keep your flick at least flat, parallel to the ground. Even if you use a rocket flip with a flick off the rail, I would recommend that you still try to avoid kicking down at the ground, because you're still gonna have to float and keep your feet above the board. So let's address the next foot position myth that I had pre-planned for this video, and it was what makes kick flips flip fast and slow, and why do double flips work with your front foot lower or more turned. Okay, you can flip single kick flips very fast with a wide foot position off the nose. This is not an issue. This just takes energy, right? Energy like you pop hard and you kick fast and you use your ankle and you throw your hip out of socket. That same thing with a low foot position off the rail will make the board flip wildly fast, but it will also give you space from the board. So I find if I'm doing kick flips with my front foot very low, I can more easily float above the board while it's flipping. Where if I have my front foot very wide, I have more trouble keeping that board away from my feet. That board wants to track up into my feet a lot more with the wide foot position. One of the ways to make sure you hit the rail, which a lot of the beginners here I think should utilize the rail for kick flips, does make the board flip a little faster. And look, it's heartbreaking. Just a couple kick flips. Man. Moment of silence for my new shoes. So one of the ways you can make sure you hit the rail is to turn your foot sideways, and when you pop, actually try to keep your toe in the center of the board. So that means as that board comes up, you can try to keep your toes like right here. And so you can get a lot of pressure against the rail to make it flick. The biggest problem I see is people actually think the flick comes from having your foot almost off of the board. But look, if we draw this line, this is maybe where Andy Anderson's grip tape would be very useful. If we draw a line up the center of the board, this whole side is going to make it flip. You don't have to be all the way on the rail over here. Right? That's why you see beginners setting up for kick flips like this and really messing with their balance and trying to get it to flip and still having trouble. You can actually have your foot decently on the board and get a lot of pressure up against this whole side of the board to get it to flip. But I still don't think that you're kicking down at the ground. I still don't think so. Happy birthday, Mono. Much love, dude. Jacob, I would say on an ollie, you wouldn't want a lot of space between your back foot and the tail, but it's not the biggest problem in the world. Karate helps with skateboarding. I'm 100% sure I did it as a kid, and the mental thing is so similar. I think if you're a smart kid, everything helps with everything. There is not a single skill that I've learned that has hurt another skill that I know of. Boxing has helped with wind-ups and spinning. Golf has helped with ground power and understanding hip mobility and rotation. Tunnel flying, skydiving helps with flipping and spinning. You know, all these things, there's like 3 body positions, right? You really never want to get out of the basic basketball triple threat position, like box out. Football, like how do you run backwards, like it's all the same. Sports are like follow some very simple rules with your mind and body. Okay, Josh Norman has a great question. Let's focus on this for a second. Question for ollies. When your front foot comes up and moves to the inside, does the knee follow or does the knee stay in the same place horizontally? So the foot moves in, causing the rotation of the shin. So rotation of the shin, let me just break down his question. When your front knee comes up to the inside, what causes this rotation? It's actually more in like the hip, but you can see it in the shin. No matter what, I think it's a good idea to have some space with your front foot on the inside of your front knee. This is just easier to do with your knee in front of your body. If my knee gets super wide, it actually gets harder to rotate that front foot inside of the front knee. It's a more aggressive feeling body position. Where if I can pick up this knee in front of me, it's quite simple to keep the foot on the inside of the knee. So the knee might feel like, for you, if you're used to throwing it out wide, it might feel like it's moving horizontally backwards a lot, but it's probably going straight up, staying in the same place, and then getting wider. Here's one of the things that's very cool. If you get your foot into this position and your knee across your body a little bit, and then you pick up your knee to the outside, your foot is going to swing underneath it. It's not very intuitive to go like this. It's more intuitive to let that foot whoosh, swing under your knee like it's a pendulum. MTB Boyd, hi. What's up, Jules? What's up, Per? You could pop harder by just jamming your front knee up to your front leg, to your chest, Nikki, but I would avoid just speeding up without having good timing. So if you just speed up, you're actually going to end up slamming back onto the ground pretty hard. We still want to float and land like a cat. Okay, if you imagine it like you're trying to jump on your, if you have like a 2-story house or an apartment building and you're doing high jumps on a wood floor and you don't want to wake your neighbor up at 2 a.m., but you just have to do high jumps right now. That's how I want you to try to land. So even if you're picking up your knees super fast to get that board up, we have to slow everything down on the way down and set your feet on the ground. Congratulations, Preston, on your first pop shove it. That's my guy right there. Any opinions on non-abrasive grip tapes? No. I mean, I've used Mob Grip for years. I think it's just a habit. Like, I've been in a pinch plenty of times and they're like, hey, we only have Jessup. Can you throw it on? It's like, sure. And I don't notice a difference. I'm pretty sure a lot of the grip tape is going to be identical. Super, super, super abrasive grip tape gives me trouble because my flicks don't release and I cut up my thumbs because I do a lot of grabs. Really like those clear grip tapes, just I don't like how they feel, but I haven't used them enough to really know if there's a huge difference. I really only run into problems if the grip is so non-abrasive that the bottom of my feet are actually sliding around on the grip. That is like a really big issue for me. Grip tape is cool. I've never really thought about it very much. Grip tape is very cool. Skateboarding is just such a wild sport. Having an existential crisis now because of that grip tape question. I've been on skateboards since I was such a young kid that I really have never thought about grip tape that much. I just choose the black Mob or Jessup and that's that. Mob Deep. I think there are low-key grit options. If you look on the bottom of the grip tape, no, that was a myth. That wasn't right. You're just gonna have to go to the shop. When they pull out a piece of grip, you feel it with your thumb. There are different cuts and different presses that within the same company, the same line of grip, that the grip tape will actually be more or less grippy. It's sort of up to you. I really don't like when it's super like shiny and sparkly and abrasive and it cuts up your fingers and you just blow through shoes faster. It's really never really been like my thing. Pepper extra grip tape goes hard. That might be good for some people. Yeah, skateboard, I've gone through phases where I write stuff down on my grip. Born Trouble with the Prime sub on Twitch. That's what I'm talking about. Is that my stunt double behind me? That kid is so good. That kid is so good. I actually don't know enough about loose trucks to really answer that. Are loose trucks better or worse for kickflips for beginners? I don't have enough knowledge actually to answer that one effectively. We're gonna do some streams where I test gear, test a bunch of tricks with loose and tight trucks, and really get a good, really good idea. No, Pig, I've never messed with non-abrasive or foam grip tape. I don't even know what that is. Foam grip tape? That just, my skater brain just goes, ew. No foam grip tape. That reminds me of like Walmart boards. Mono, I don't spend money on shoes per month. New Balance just gives me shoes. Before that, Etnies gave me shoes. Before that, DC gave me shoes. I've never really bought skate shoes. I've been very, very, very fortunate since the beginning because we didn't have much money to like buy all this skate gear when I was a young kid, and I got put on Flow by DC very early, which especially as a vert skater, I would blow through laces and I would blow through the toe caps of shoes really fast. So I've just always been really fortunate to have an endless supply of shoes. And then once I qualified for pro contests, that just even went up tenfold. I really never had to worry. I think I have 5 pairs of shoes in my car right now. Hi, Jules. You can go to sleep. Well, actually, that is a true, honest answer, and I couldn't. I mean, I am definitely aware of how, like, insanely lucky that is. Shoes are so expensive, You know, I'll still go into like a skate shop or like a shoe store and take a look at skate shoes just to see what's out there. And they're 70, 80 bucks a piece. And for most of my life, they're like, could not afford that with how often I was going through shoes. It would have been a necessary evil, especially in the contest world, to just have fresh shoes on deck like that. But what I would do to get ready for contests, I would break in like 2 or 3 pairs of shoes at a time, and then once one would blow out, I would actually just replace one shoe. I would get 3 pairs that were the same shoe, break them all in, and then just mix and match them based on like what was blown out. Or, you know, if there's heavy training like 2 weeks before a comp, I would use a new shoe so it would be broken in by the time the contest starts, so I could keep the same shoes. But accidents happen. Sometimes the shoe just blows up on you and you need a replacement really fast. Hi, Hyena. I'm doing good. How are you? Can changing the shoe and shoe brand change how the board feels in misflicks? Very much so. Your shoes are your shoes and your grip and your board. That is your connection to the board. Any change with any part of your setup will drastically affect your timing and the speed of your flicks and the placement of your board. Like, as a beginner, you won't notice as much. I don't think it's as big of an issue, but like, for instance, in a contest situation, I would never change model of shoe and have a new shoe day of, just because there might be something I don't know about it. But it's not something you can't just like fix with a couple of kick flips and relearn. Shoes can blow up, especially skating vert. Half cab backside heel flip position. Should my feet be closer or further apart? Welcome to the stream, Devin. I would happily answer that question. I am not good at half cab heel flips. I have not practiced them very much, but I really like the line of questioning, and I think it's very appropriate for this stream. So, one thing about heel flips that I do appreciate, that I've been working on lately, let me just test this one time for the half cab, see if it's the same. I want you to look at this mark here, up on the nose. That mark came from this part of my shoe. This is something that beginners, newer skaters, even you experienced ones, I want you to start connecting. I want you to look at your grip tape and see the marks. And I want you to be able to look at your shoe and know which mark created that. And the same thing on the bottom of your board. If you're doing a board slide, you know, I want you to be able to do a board slide and say, okay, that was this scratch. Or if you look at like a consistent, I haven't skated any rails or vert with this. I've only done like rock to fakies, and you can tell my rock to fakies are all right here. This is probably from rock and rolls down at the bottom, right? You see that big wear. But I know for a fact that if I were to do a backside lip slide on a vert ramp, that happens in this area right here on the toe side. My back lips will almost never scratch the center of the board or even like down this center line. And it's the same thing with the flicks. You can see the kick flips up in this corner. You can see that one heel flip up in this corner. Hi guys. Hello. You can see the heel flip up in this corner. So when you're practicing, that is very useful to keep track of. Okay. Hello. So, sorry, I just got yelled at from the parking lot, and they were taking pictures. I mean, it's Ruby and Weinstein. The reason I like wide foot position for heel flips is because, well, this is from our stream yesterday that we worked on. That wider foot position, focusing on using that front of my shoe to hit the nose instead of the heel, gives a lot more pressure against the flick, and it gives it a lot more stability and predictability. With that, creates the need for your back foot to be in the other corner, and you kind of spread your feet out through the nose and tail diagonally. Okay, I see nothing wrong with that when it comes to doing half cab heel flips and doing that same exact setup. That really puts the board flipping in a nice place. If I were to drop it lower, let's just try it. It's gonna be harder for me to hit the nose. I might even go off the rail. See, lower. I kind of lost balance through the takeoff. That one doesn't really count. Notice the board wanted to flip a lot higher, faster, but there was also more time between the pop and the flick, so that aim gets a little bit harder. So I would say for stability and consistency, actually have your front foot up closer to the nose, where you can visualize this front part of your shoe, that ball of your foot scraping against the nose, and have your back foot off of the heel side of the tail, and you just spread your feet through the takeoff. That's the feel for me. I know in reality you've got to push and you got to pull, but it's very simple like that, because your front foot is so close to the nose that you're going to be a lot less likely to miss the flick. Face tap fish. Let's skate vert and be Tony Hawk. Cheers. Hey, it's the Skate IQ guy. Yeah, I'm very much the Skate IQ guy everywhere I go. A lot of times people are very, very, very respectful. Skaters are super respectful at the skate park, and like they don't want to bother, they don't want us to get in the way. They watch the channel. Oftentimes I feel a little more insecure than they, like I'm just feel like I'm taking up a lot of space, and then I end the stream and 6 or 7 skaters will come up, hey, like, are you, like, I was watching your stream from over there, like I didn't want to mess you up, like big fan, or like, hey, are you that famous guy? Like it's everywhere I go. Not to us, you're Mitchy to us. The Twitch chat, I'm Mitchy, which is so cool. But I really don't mind it. I think teaching and helping has been the best thing that has ever happened to me, to be honest. I think just competing, and it feels like very lonesome and like almost selfish in a way to be like, look at this thing I did and now I win, and now I'm like trying to get famous so I can get sponsors, so I can get money and pay rent, and like at the end of the day I just love skateboarding. It felt very out of, I loved it, but something wasn't right. And being able to talk to people and to help with the basic tricks and to connect from like a skater to skater level has been very, very heartwarming. Okay, Josh, that's a great question. It's okay to spam just because I can't keep up with chat. So, Josh says that his ollies are turning and landing primo. And I would assume that it's turning heel side and landing primo here. And then you try to stay over it, and you end up in this terrifying position where your board is like a little bit sideways on landing. From chat, advice I got from this chat was actually a very simple yet effective one, where if you just turn your back foot backwards, that helps the board not rotate front side. Okay? I think we as a skateboard community need to focus more on our back foot in the back foot direction of the pop. So one thing you can do is try some hand ollies. You'll notice that when you pop, you might throw the board up into your shin or knee. So you're kicking out and away from you without realizing it, and I want you to kick down and back without rotating your board, right? And it's the same thing when you're doing regular ollies. You can make sure you're just not rotating the board with your back foot. With that being said, I'm a very front foot focused person. So if I see my board rotating front side, I'm gonna pick my foot up and I'm gonna try to push the nose out away from me this way. Very simply, to hold the board straight. That feels like it's rotating a lot backside, but in reality, for you, that might be the thing that holds it straight. $12.60 guy, that's funny. I actually don't get that very much. $12.60 is like not the thing that I get. I get $12.60 in Skate IQ and then Mitchie, but I get Skate IQ so much more than anything else. We get like 6 million views a month on YouTube right now between shorts and views. It's incredible. And maybe a similar amount of accounts reached on Instagram on a great month. We'll get 6 million. So that's 12 million in a month over month. We have 110 million views on YouTube total. It's incredible. I mean, that's incredible. You can pop with half of your foot hanging off the tail, the heel side, or the toe side, Jacob, because I don't believe that you're getting good pop with your front foot with your back foot off the toe side, and yeah, I just don't see it. Good, Michael, good. I sure hope so. I sure hope we're able to make skateboarding all that it can be. Chuckles. So you don't get bringing the front foot to the inside for ollies, and I'm going to explain it to you in a very simple and logical way that most students understand. If I'm standing like this with my feet off the board and I just pop, look at where the nose is. Okay, so that nose comes up and back. We just want to find the nose at this spot. So if you take your front foot and put it right here, right? Let's pretend that this hand is my foot. That is how we're going to get the board to flatten out. If my front foot comes up out here, I'm just going to miss the nose. Or worse, I'm going to have to keep it so low that I'm not actually going to be able to get the tail all the way to the ground. So that's why that front foot comes up and back, because we want to meet the nose right here. So I'm just putting my front foot where this hand is. Let the nose run into it and have this board moving backwards so that tail wants to come out. Thank you, Frank. Much love. Thank you, thank you. Anthony Priest, I don't know if we're going to sponsor skaters. I would love to. It's just a very complicated endeavor. $12 million people a month see this guy, but only Twitch chat can still hang with him. It's true. Are kickflips or heel flips easier? That's a good question. I think kickflips are easier, but heel flips can easily be more consistent than kickflips. I don't know how that makes sense, but I feel like it does. Kickflips seem intuitive and natural for more people, but heel flips are actually like a really solid, like people who have good heel flips have the best heel flips and they make them every time. Burgundy show, if Burgundy Snow, if you do if you want to draw lines on your board for kick flips, I think that's completely fair. I actually have this. I checked my board on a plane because I flew Frontier, and I kept that on because I actually really like it as a marker for how low I can get my foot. Any lower than that, it feels terrible. It ended up just working out, and I kept it on so I can have it as a reference. And I use the front bolts as a reference, and I use this thing as a reference. But you know, oftentimes I'm not looking at my board. I'm just feeling. I'm trying to feel certain things. Like maybe I want to feel the nose for this flick. So that's what I think about. But I don't think drawing lines is negative at all. Flat fold. That's a great question. How does my foot position change as I start trying to do flip tricks at more speed? I find that when I start going faster, I often miss my pop and the front foot loses board connection. So we start to run into multiple issues while we're rolling, okay? How do we keep the board with us, I think, is the biggest problem. We can do that in a couple of ways. My favorite way is when you're in the squat, just load your back foot a little bit more. So when you're actually at the bottom of your squat, you can just push into your back foot a little bit more and shift yourself over the tail a little bit. That will naturally help that board stay forward when you pop. But then we run into the issue where we still have to pull the board up and at us and flick it, and a lot of times we'll end up off of the nose. Kick flips going fast on flat ground are difficult because to me, it's either I can flip it fast or I can bring it with me. So when I try to bring that board with me, I try to feel more pressure on the nose and throw the board forward more. So I actually have a kind of a wide foot position, and I focus on jumping really high and getting a strong flick with that setup a little bit more over the back truck. So now I have 2 or 3 things working together to try to get that board to flip forward. If I'm just doing a kick flip on flat ground, I actually tend to be more center, a little bit over the front foot, and let that board slide back a little bit because I feel like it speeds up the flick. But we don't have that luxury when we're going super fast. But one of the good things, a lot of times when we're going fast, we're going to be going higher, so you have more time. So you can have that wider, slower flick foot position to keep it with you. Frank Lucas, that's a great name. Isn't that the guy from American Wait, are we back? Wait, it went on and off. It went on and off. Wait. Oh, yeah, I did the old turn it off and turn it back on again. Wait. No idea how or why. There's no rhyme or reason. Have you guys ever been around technology before? No rhyme or reason. The camera feed stopped going through. Classic. We're so back. Yep, I mean, this thing is amazing. So one thing that's good about it is I turned off the entire machine that runs our live stream and the camera and unplugged it, plugged it back in, and it kept our stream live because it's running through a separate server. That is cool. We didn't lose all the viewers. It's the same VOD. It is one stream. That's really cool. No, it didn't overheat at all. I went and felt it, and it's like cool. I've had it in the shade this whole time, but that's not going to be our last technical difficulty ever. I just would like to get that out of the way now. Yeah, that's how you appeal to the tech gods. Turn it off and you turn it back on again. This park is Poods in Encinitas, and holy smokes, is it beautiful. Damn. Got some fresh air. Good skaters everywhere. It's really nice. Preston, you're the man. Okay, let's get back to some skate tips. I can do shove-its on rougher ground. I don't like to. At all. I wish there was a way that I could look directly at the camera and read multiple chats at the same time. All right, I'm just gonna skate and riff, because this seems like a good thing to do. Actually, Nah, let's focus on, kind of want to do manuals. But we should focus on just like the basics. So let's do some ollies while moving, and maybe we can discuss some issues about getting up onto things. So the height of our ollie is determined by the height of the front truck, right? If we get our front trucks up this high, there's good reason that we can get our back trucks up that high too. While you're moving, when you want to ollie onto something, it's very easy to try to throw your board at the thing to make sure that it gets up, but then you run into two big problems. Your back trucks stay low and you end up behind the board. So we're going to avoid that with the same thing that we've been doing the whole rest of this stream. When you bend down, bend your back knee in front of your back foot. That'll help you kick backwards, like kickstart the ollie a little bit better. But something that you have to realize in your head and be disciplined about is you're ollieing straight up and you're letting your speed carry you over the thing. So if you want to ollie over something, you actually can't reach your board over it through the pop. You have to reach your board over it after you're at the top and on your way down, right? So yes, I'm moving forward and I cleared the thing, but the ollie itself is like this. Very much straight up and down, and we're just moving forward. That's the biggest problem that I see, is fear of clearing the thing distance-wise and trying to reach your back trucks forward too much, and it makes it impossible to pick your back trucks high up in the air. Five-second manual. Nice job, Preston. Any tips? No, wait. Have you got any front foot drills to isolate the movement and commit to the muscle memory? Yes. So my favorite drill to understand how that front foot movement works is you can just lay your front foot on a ledge or something sideways like this, and then jump off your back foot and land on both your feet. That will really show you that like spreading motion at the top that you want to get when you're first trying to pick your board up in the air, and then how it feels to then land with your feet wide on the bolts. It's jumping from this position that is a little bit awkward. Obviously, it's not going to be that much across. It's just going to be like very little, like probably right here. But that, to me, has been the best drill that I can do. And it alleviates some hip pain, because that hip pain starts to kick in when you get really wide and aggressive. But we can be more narrow. Lucky Payne, I don't have a way to review videos on stream yet. I don't think goofy versus regular has much to do with tray flips. I jump off my left foot and I'm goofy. That probably helps me. I don't know if it's like, if people are more likely to jump off of one foot or the other, how that affects their flip tricks. That I would be curious about. Media share on Twitch. I've actually never heard of that. Is it easier to do some tricks goofy. I don't think there's like a goofy or regular. I find that generally goofy skaters like to spin backside, but I feel like I might just make that up. I think everybody likes to spin backside. It's just no, because Frenchie is goofy and he spins frontside. Twitch share is a thing a lot of streamers do for chat sharing, music videos. Oh, wait. For chat sharing, music, or videos. Interesting. I'm going to have to look into that. Twitch media share. So I'm gonna answer Tristan's questions. Why do my pop shove-its often move different distances away from me? I'm struggling to land them. This is a very common one, and it's all distances toe side, right? So like, if your shove-its move off a random distance this way, and you don't know how to land on them, I just want you to practice this. This simple thing right here, where you do small power slides just with your back truck backside. Okay, you want to be able to move your back trucks off the center line behind you, because that's the motion for the shove it. And that's how you keep it under you, right? If it's going in front of you, you might be reaching with your front foot and then jumping, and you see it just flies over there. Because the direction the wheels are moving when you're jumping, right? If you jump from here, the board's gonna run away. So don't reach your front foot out and pull on your back foot. Help keep it right underneath you. PC stream incoming. What do you mean? Yeah, that's what we do, baby. We try to keep it clear and concise over on this channel. How's that? No problem, Tristan. Okay, there's one thing that I want to cover before the end of the stream. Let's see. And it's gonna be on. I got too many phones, man. I got too many phones. Even for the reviews, it would be nice if I could just get you guys to submit videos, and then I could watch them, and then I could just like do examples. Okay, we covered do kickflips spin faster with a narrow pointed foot. Remember when we did double flips and triple flips and we brought that foot lower and we turned it forward, but focused on keeping the toe pressure a little bit more in the center of the board and not so much all the way at the rail. That's just a personal feeling that I think will make your kickflips more consistent. Flicking heel flips with the toe. So getting your pressure up on this the ball of your foot up against the edge of the nose and spreading your feet out from corner to corner, and also tracking the marks on your grip tape so you can see exactly where your flick is happening if you can't feel it. This one is very scary. None of you guys recommended it, but I got a question on my Instagram story that I wanted to cover, and it's fakie 3 shoves wanting to flip. So the problem that people generally have with 3 shoves is that they turn into like tray flips. Same thing with big spins, they just don't go very high. So if we're looking at popping big spins higher or doing fakie 3 shoves, let's see if it helps to drop that back foot down on that heel side of the tail and letting it fly. I've never tried this. That works incredibly well. That works incredibly well. I'm gonna do the same thing, but I'm just gonna have my foot on the toe side. I feel like I know what happens here, but I just wanna see. So obviously that thing flipped like crazy, and that was just back foot position. I didn't really flick it. I'm actually learning a lot about tray flips by doing these live streams, taking feedback and questions from you guys, and also taking the tips from you guys and really making adjustments that I never thought to make. So by putting that back foot in that corner of the heel side pocket, it actually makes the board want to jump into the air and flip less. But I still can't predict it because I have no experience. No experience there. I feel like it's gonna flip. I'm used to it flipping if I do that. So that's gonna take a minute. That feels very cool. So that myth is completely real. That is not a myth. If you want to do 3 shoves or big spins, if you take your back foot and put it in the heel side corner, that is going to make it pop a lot higher and flip a lot less. If you want it to flip like tray flip, you got to load pressure on that toe side wheel, and then when you jump, it'll want to react by flipping. But if you have it over on this heel side and do that same thing, it wants to stay a lot flatter. I've really never experienced that. That's a great tool to have in the arsenal. I'm gonna have to practice that a lot on my own to really get, because that opens up fakie 3 shoves. So if we're thinking about doing something like, if you want to do a fakie 3 shove switch manual, or like fakie 3 shove switch front board, you'd need a lot of confidence that board isn't going to flip accidentally, right? And that's a great way to do that. Narrow foot position will dictate height of a lot of tricks, but not as much as you think. It will affect the height at the top end of your ollies more than at the bottom end. So there's a huge range of tricks that I can do at the same height with almost any foot position, right? So if you're going this high, and you could do this basically from any foot position. But as you start to break that barrier and you go way up here, you might have to get your front foot a little bit lower just to give your nose some more space to get way up. It's really only an issue if you find you're jumping and the board is floating away from you at the top of your ollie. But if that's not happening, if your board isn't floating away from you, I don't think your foot position is the thing that's holding you back. I think it's just how high can you really jump. I do have a Discord. I haven't checked it for a long time though. It's just we have so many channels now. Skate IQ YouTube. We have the Discord. We have our school group. We have our YouTube channels. We have it's just so many chats to keep up with. When I'm doing regular pop shove, no. I keep my back foot more in the center of the tail. I feel like if my back foot is on either side for regular pop shove, it actually tends to flip. I almost died earlier in the stream because of it. Ankle stretches, keep your ankles mobile, whatever, if you wake up with sore ankles. Every morning I do one of these, and both my ankles crack, and it feels so good. I would recommend doing calf raises and actually strengthening your ankles rather than just stretching them out. Frontside pop shove-its, you keep them flat by doing the same thing, by having your back foot more in the center of the tail. Anything where your board only does a 180, keep it more in the center. As we start to do these 360s, that's when you want to use more of the edges of the rail. It seems. That's what we're finding. I can hold a stationary manual forever, Andy. Let's see. Let's see how long we can hold this. It's really not locking into place. I mean, I could probably count the viewers one by one before I end up falling out of this. My back leg's gonna get tired, but I mean, actually holding the manual isn't much of a thing. Let's see if we can. Wait. Thumbs up for this. How many keepy ups can you do with a sand wedge? I've done 100 in a row multiple times. Kind of lift your front foot for balance. Well, I'm pushing and pulling on the front foot, so it's not only one thing. Hey, Dad. How are you? Good to see you, man.
You too.
You well?
Yeah.
Yeah, good. So the front foot isn't just pulling to hold a manual. I'm not just lifting it up in the air and trying to hold it up here. I'm actually pushing and pulling on the nose to hold the nose at a height that I like, and then taking the back foot and moving it back and forth underneath me, right? If I push my back foot forward, I'll be on the tail. If I pull my back foot backwards, now I'm on the nose. So, right, I can push and pull on this back foot to keep those wheels under me, and then we get to hold the nose close to the ground by pushing on like the ball of your front foot. Right, because we don't want that nose to get too high, because this is exhausting, right? With the nose all the way up here, it's very tiring, and we have no room to play with the tail. We want to keep that tail far from the ground so we have all this room if we need it, right? If I keep the nose closer to the ground, now we actually have more leeway. This is different than letting your hip bust out and then ending up over your front trucks and letting the manual just smash into the ground. So very focused over those back trucks, standing a bit tall with a slight bend in both knees, moving that back truck forward and backwards, not leaning. I'm not leaning forward and backwards. I'm just moving my back foot around back there to find the spot. But once it locks in, it shouldn't really move that much. It's a good spot. Right, but if I start falling back, I can pull. If I start falling back this way, I can just pull my back foot under me there. And then if I start falling forward, I can push my back foot forward. But the whole time keeping that tension on the front, on that front foot. My heel is up in the air on my front foot, right? I don't like having a flat front foot because this feels, again, very exhausting. It's easier for me if I have the ball of my foot up against the board and I can actually push on it. I can hold that nose down, feel a lot of pressure on the front foot. And that's a good habit for me because if I want to do like a kick flip, I got to hold those front trucks very low to the ground so I can get like a good pop and then jump from there. It flips. If my front trucks are really high in the air, I actually can't get as good of a pop. Yeah, that's another degree of freedom. That's a good way to put it. We want to be loose and mobile and make it very like fun, right? If you're feeling stuck to the board and you're just trying to hold it, it's not very fun. But if you feel like you're floating over the top of it and you can push and you can pull on your feet and you can make all these adjustments and take squats and use your balance and mess with the board, that's a lot of fun. It's okay for the back foot to stand slightly tall, like on the ball of your foot. Yeah. I want you to avoid straightening your back leg because that will start, you see how my hips immediately started going like this? If your back leg is too straight, your only thing you can do to balance is there. If your back knee is bent, now you have a lot more room to make adjustments between your knees and your shoulders rather than just letting your hips slide. Thing that most people don't know, actually, if your hips go back, you're going to fall forward. If your hips go forward, you're going to fall back. I don't know why, but it happens every time. Well, I do know why. I just figured it out. Your upper body weighs a lot. Remember we talked about that earlier in the stream? If my hips fly out behind me, my upper body's going to go forward. Now I got all this weight over my front foot. The other way is this side. The other adjustment you can make, which we do in a pinch, is rolling that foot over. If you end up falling way back and you can't hold the nose down, you can roll that front leg over to stay over it. This is like a falling backwards. Save it if you're falling backwards, but I wouldn't recommend doing that too much. Also, just in general, when you're doing manuals, try to make very few adjustments. Okay, like I'm going to do a manual, I'm going to send my hips out backwards and leave them. All right, now we know what happens. Problem with a lot of manuals when students come to me is they're going like this. They're just trying to hold it, and it's like, dude, we have no idea what's helping or hurting or doing nothing at all. Like, you need to do one thing and give feedback to know when to use that. Like, we want to do things that help you. We don't want to burn a bunch of energy. Run DMK. What about revert manuals on transitions for some high combos? Yeah, that would be sick. That was the biggest myth ever. We're talking about myths. That was the biggest myth ever. I thought we were going to be doing manual revert combos, but that's just way too hard. The mower came around. I know, I was worried. That's great, Preston. I love skateboarding too. I'm happy I can help you love it. That makes me happy. I love skateboarding more than ever now. Okay, so I'm very happy with this stream. We are going to do something fun to end it. We probably will touch on some tutorials, but I'm going to do the 4 manuals. So let's do it this way. Do I want to go uphill or downhill? I want to go uphill. We're just going to set this up right here and talk about the manual pad. I know. All good things come to an end. And I'll be live tomorrow. See, we're doing this in a balanced way, so I can do it every day. Okay, so instead of moving your hips back and forth, which body part do you focus on moving for manuals? My feet. So I don't like my hips moving out back and forth like this. This feels very unstable, and your upper body weighs so much that if you're throwing your upper body around, even if it's through your hips, then that's going to be trash. I focus on moving my feet forward and backwards, right? Again, remember we talked about if I just lift my foot, I'm going to fall over it, but if I put my back foot underneath my head, then I can balance. This is where I try to get my back foot. And if I start to fall backwards, I can just shift my back foot back. If I fall forward, I can just shift it forward. Something that people generally don't consider when it comes to manuals, since we have an empty skate park, I'm going to use this side angle. My sister's calling. Give me 1 second. Hey, I am in the middle of a live stream. Can I call you after? Okay, bye. So, one thing I want you to think about is actually the ground, the angle of the ground. Okay, this is a crazy important tip. Whenever you're looking at a manual pad or even flat ground tricks, take a look around, find where the drains are, how they're draining the skate park when it rains, and do tricks going away from the drains. That will put you going uphill and make your pops a lot better. A 1% decline will change your nollies and your kick flips a lot more than you think, and your tray flips and all this stuff. When you're doing manuals, it's the same thing. If you're going to be doing a manual, even if it's a little bit uphill, you're going to be slowing down the whole time. Right? So that's going to be pulling you forward over your front truck. So to do a manual going away from a drain, you'll actually have to be more aggressive on the tail. Versus doing a manual a little bit downhill, you'll be speeding up the whole time, so you'll be more likely to fall back, so you have to hold your front trucks a little bit lower to the ground, right? And I'll show you. It's very much like a parent. This is a very uphill manual pad, but generally they're not flat because they have to drain. You don't want puddles at your skate park, right? Look how downhill this is. It's just going to turn around. Come on. So, on the way up, I have to be more aggressive over the nose, this way. And then on the way down, I have to be a little bit more towards the trucks that want to go towards the ground, because it's going to speed up and I'm just going to end up slipping more and more. This is something you should know on your approach, because that's really going to change your strategy. Also, if you're trying to do flip tricks out of your manuals, you're going to want to go uphill, because that will give you a little bit more bang for your buck when it comes to your pop. I guarantee you guys didn't know that. Actually, green reading did help me read the skate parks. I was having really bad tray flips and I was going at the drain and I went, no way. So I turned around, and then it's made a very big difference ever since. Why is it so hard to pop going up a ramp? That's a good question. It's hard to pop going up a ramp because the ramp is angled. Right, let's say the ramp's at this angle. And to pop, you gotta get your tail on the ground, which means your nose is gonna have to move out this way. We're used to putting our front leg up in the air, straight up. That would make sense on this plane. But once the board's on this plane, lifting it straight up isn't gonna get the tail to the ground anymore. So you gotta get comfortable moving your foot down and away from the nose so you can push the tail to the ground. Right? Which is the same thing as this on flat. Let's see this frame, make sure we're all good. Okay, let's do some manuals. That was a beautiful X. That was a beautiful explanation, especially as someone who installs drain pipes. You're getting your respect here today, 4chan. Okay, I'm gonna do a couple of manuals, and that is that. Into the wind, up the hill. Regular manual, good. Nose manual down the hill. Good. Switch manual up the hill. No good. for 2. Switch manual complete. Oh, I suck at switch ollie fakie manuals. Oh, I'm so bad at them. Fought for that one. Okay, that's good by me. Do you like to stay on the center of your board? I try to keep my back foot in the center of the tail, unless we're doing some type of rotation. Manual City. Oh, Man City. Okay, Jacob, good night, man. 21. Stupid. I cannot slap you, so I keep ignoring those questions. Tips on fakie manual, I'm just not good enough at them. I'm just not good enough at switch ollieing into a fakie manual. I don't know. The way that I did it, I put my front foot high and I tried to drag the board behind me through the pop just like I would on a regular ollie, and then I fought for it. No problem, Josh. Okay. Much love, guys. I can manual flip out. I don't feel like grinding that out right now. I just feel like, honestly, like these streams are very good. They're very informative. But I don't want to get into a trick battle. Then I'll just get tired. And I want to stream tomorrow and answer more questions for you guys. Let's do frontside shove-its tomorrow and varial heel flips. I'm going to add that to the list. Okay, who's live on Twitch right now? Who can we raid on Twitch? Is there anyone? Is Jason Parks? Is Parks live? No, he's not live. Unfortunate. Okay, guys. I will see you. If you're watching this now and you're sad that it's the end of the stream, that's okay. On YouTube, we have the VOD that goes up right after this. We covered a lot of different questions about ollies, shove-its, kick flips, manuals, all these things. You can go through it. I'll timestamp it later if it's not timestamped already. We covered a lot of different foot position questions and a lot of great things. Yeah, and I look forward to going live again tomorrow. And if you're on YouTube, please go over to Twitch and drop us a follow on Twitch. You know, like our Twitch streams are going to be long term, probably where we're going to focus a lot of our energy when it comes to, like, if you like live streaming. There'll be some streams that we probably only run on Twitch if it's a little more IRL or trick battle or something like this, and less just focused on ollies and education and stuff like that, because we want to keep the Skate IQ YouTube channel like very crisp and very clean. I also have my own personal Twitch that I'll be streaming on for more IRL stuff, like just take the camera around town, but my personal channel is not quite big enough to run that yet, and I can't raid myself from Skate IQ's channel because I haven't figured out that process. But that's what's going to happen a lot of times. We'll go live, then I'll just raid Mitchy Brusco IRL, and we'll go get lunch or something like that. Anyways, I'll talk to you guys tomorrow morning when we go live again. Make sure you like and subscribe. You put your post notifications on. You're following on